House Speaker Mike Johnson is wasting no time pushing President-elect Trump's agenda. Just one day after winning a nail-biter election to keep his gavel, Johnson told Republicans during a closed-door meeting today that Trump wants to move his agenda in one big policy bill instead of two separate measures. The effort to put border, energy, and tax policy in a single bill is a shift from where Senate Republican leadership has been. Joining us now is Mariana Sotomayor, congressional reporter for The Washington Post. I'm going to ask you more about that in a moment. Good to see you and Happy New Year. What a way to get started, right?
Oh, yeah.
So let's get started with Johnson's narrow victory. He was reelected on the first ballot after two members of his own party ended up flipping their votes. Some GOP members saw it as a message to Johnson. Listen to what some of them had to say.
The speaker realizes that he needs to listen to the conservative folks, to the base.
We want to make sure that this is honestly a collaborative environment.
Okay, so how hard will it be for Speaker Johnson to get, anything done, really, given how tight that GOP margin is? Will it be collaborative?
Well, it's definitely not going to be easy. We have seen the growing pains over the last 2 years where Republicans had a narrow majority, but not as narrow as they will have in the next upcoming months. They have a 3-seat majority, and 2 members we know are going to be part of Trump's administration. So by the end of the month, literally Johnson is going to be in the same predicament that we saw yesterday. He's going to need basically all Republicans, literally all Republicans left, to be able to move forward with policy. A lot of the discussions that Johnson had with those 2 Republicans that ended up flipping was around making sure that members of the House Freedom Caucus in particular, members of the far right, were more part of negotiations moving forward. And it is going to be a pretty hefty agenda. Trump wants to get done a number of things, but also get them done quickly. He has obviously said, and Johnson reiterated in his re-election speech yesterday, that American voters have given them a mandate. So Republicans need to stay united. But as we know, that is incredibly difficult. And they frankly don't have all that much time to spend negotiating, wheeling and dealing behind closed doors to be able to get a number of things done, particularly the debt ceiling, which actually needs to be lifted likely by the end of this month. If not, America could default on its debt, which has never happened before.
So those 2 Republicans that flipped that you're referring to, Trump actually spoke with them, South Carolina Republican Representative Ralph Norman and Keith Self of Texas. This is what Norman told Fox News.
I knew President Trump was supporting Mike Johnson. He called, and we had a great conversation. But I knew where he stood.
What did he say to you, sir?
He just said Mike Johnson is the only one that's got the support among the body to become Speaker. And I get that. But, the only way I had to let my voice be heard was what I did. I would do it again.
So beyond that, would anything be given in exchange, like a promise or something? How could that phone call simply make them change their mind, those 2?
Yeah, it's interesting. Ralph Norman is a lawmaker I've been covering for some time. He's actually part of the Freedom Caucus, but has been one of those who's always stuck by Johnson. So it was pretty significant for him, as he said, to make his displeasure heard in this form and fashion. It's interesting that Johnson has actually been able to keep to his own kind of leadership style, which is to not make deals with a certain flank of his own Republican conference. He did give that promise, right, to include these members in more robust negotiations. Trump so far, at least as far as we know, these last couple of weeks since endorsing Johnson, has also stayed to his same message that Johnson was frankly the only one who could really get 218 votes in just one vote, as we saw yesterday. We don't know of any promises that Trump may have made to these Republicans, but something that Johnson did say and reassured these Republicans was, if I break my promise to you all, if I am not able to deliver Trump's agenda, there is that motion to vacate. And as we saw yesterday, besides those 3 initial Republicans who voted against Johnson, there were 6 who withheld their vote for some time. That's 9. Those are 9 members already signaling that they are willing to take out Mike Johnson if he doesn't deliver on Trump's agenda.
Oh boy, potentially. Here we go again, huh? All right. We'll be watching. You help keep us posted. Mariana Sotomayor.
Happy to do so.
Thank you so much and Happy New Year.